This week on Today's Homeowner, we're tearing into the Kuppersmith project. From inside demolition to building new walls, we're going to do our best to get this renovation off and running.
Put it on a boat and haul it tail.
Yeah, like an airboat.
Yeah, there you go.
We're remodeling this classic 85-year-old house we call the Kuppersmith project. The Kuppersmith family lived here for over a half a century, but our renovation will make it a more modern, family-friendly home. We're keeping the character of this beautiful place while we lose a lot of the maintenance issues and add a little more space. Outside, that meant removing the termite-ridden garage and lots of overgrown landscaping.
Now, even though it's raining, it's not stopping the guys on the backhoe. They're trying to finish all of their work on the outside. Inside is the start of one of the largest interior demolition projects I've ever done. Man, this is almost too intense with all the work taking place outside and all the stuff taking place inside. Look, even old Wiley's getting involved with the work. What, is that the only door that you moved today, or you're actually doing a little work here?
No, I didn't count them up, but it's quite a few.
Well, I just wonder if they're worth saving, though. I mean, it's just plywood.
The hardware is what's valuable on these things, if anything else.
Hey, you're saving the floors, I see.
They're really in pretty good shape, and that's just what it takes.
Now, I saw Tim earlier working on some of the light fixtures over here and trying to save some of the brass fixtures. You never know, maybe we could refinish those things and try those out.
Well, I tell you, it's pretty cool to find something in the project where you can reuse some of the items that you've taken out of the house.
I know everybody's been kind of pulling straws to see who's going to end up crawling under this house and looking around. I know I looked under the house before I bought it and everything, and seems okay, but with a little bit of settling and everything, looks to me like this might be the place for us to get underneath that house.
Well, I think so too. I think so. One of our conversations before, you'd mentioned there might be some undisclosed termite damage, but also we have some erosion problems on the outside of the house where the water saturates and sits up against the outside of the foundation. That could very well be it too.
Yeah, that could easily be it. Well, you know, all these thousands of houses we've remodeled over the years, we always talk about that one house where you tear a section of the wall out and those gold coins start pouring out, or hidden money stash or something like this. You think the guys will tell us about it if that happens?
Not a chance.
Not a chance.
Not a chance.
Before the guys go treasure hunting in the walls, they have to suit up because we know some of the woodwork here has lead paint on it.
The abominable redneck snowman.
Now that also means that anything they remove with lead has to be contained with plastic.
Oh, that didn't work.
It's a rather tedious process, but one that's necessary because of health and environmental regulations. We're also taking out all of the plaster on the walls and ceilings because we'll need so much access in so many different places for new wiring, plumbing, and insulation, not to mention the framing modifications. Little by little, they move through the house, opening up the walls, and when they get to the kitchen, I even join in on the fun.
I'm just thinking how lucky old Mark Buffkin is that he gets to do this kind of stuff all the time. You got that right. He should be paying me.
There aren't any gold coins under the cabinets, but there is a little bit of the home's history.
So you got 1, 2,
3, 4,
5. And then the original floor, it's over here, isn't it? So that's exactly the same size, got to be the same wood that we have in the rest of the house. It's even running the same way. We may have to end up taking some of this, maybe taking all of this original wood up and using it for any of our patching.
That's right.
And then start right there at that doorway.
With some new wood.
With new wood, or even going with something like a ceramic. So.
Right.
Well, we keep looking for those gold bricks. Maybe we'll find them sooner or later.
Yeah, not yet, but we keep looking.
While the work continues here, let's check in with Joe for this week's Simple Solution.
With more and more people recycling, nearly every home has a recycling bin like this. And more often than not, it's kept in the garage. But garages are really crowded, so I came up with an idea of storing it in the garage, but keeping it out of the way. I made a simple wooden wall cleat out of 3 pieces of 1x4. And these 2 tabs here were spaced so that they fit under the lip of the tub. So I marked a level line on the wall about 36 inches off the floor. That way it's out of the way, but there's still storage below if I want to keep other items directly below the bin. And I'm just going to screw it right to the wall. Now you have to make sure you screw right into wall studs. These These are 3-inch screws. Make sure it's level. Drive in the other screw. There you go. Now we just hang the bin right on the cleats. There. And now it's readily accessible, out of the way, and best of all, you can lift it off and carry it right to the curb.
The Kuppersmith project is off and running. The demolition outside is complete. And once we're done gutting the inside, it's time to survey what we have.
Well, Danny, we got the upstairs completely gutted here.
Man, it completely looks different. The windows have seen their better day, though. Actually, there's window weight right there where they used to counterbalance all of these things. But the style of the windows that we're putting in are going to be pretty much the same. Of course, it'll be insulated and have cladding on the outside for the low maintenance.
Much better than those.
Yeah,
right?
oh yeah, yeah. Hey, you know, something else that I noticed, look right here, where people, you know, you think back when the carpenters, you know how we always are drawing things out, and you can see how they showed the swing of the door, because the door opened in like that, and then it looks like, almost looks like they're drawing a big screen TV, but we know that wasn't the case in 1926.
Transom.
Probably the transom right in there. So that's pretty cool.
Yep.
All right, in here, this is pretty wild. You know, we've seen this before. Of course, they were pulling all the concrete out of here the other day, I saw. They must have taken like an axe or a hatchet and...
Yeah, I guess, you know, I guess just so they could have more concrete there, you know, because they was actually above here. I guess if it was just a flat board, it would only been just, you know, that's just to keep it from breaking all the pieces, I guess. But they hewed that down with an axe. That was a long time ago.
A lot of things change on that. I know you're going to be reconfiguring all of these walls for the new shape of the bathroom and all of that, but
yeah, we'll have to address all that.
And then the big fan up here, we've seen those things before where we've had to almost disassemble it. You think, I don't even know how you're going to get that out of here.
I'm hoping it'll go through that hole.
But you still, to get it out of the house though, of course some of these windows are going out. I guess you can just throw it right out the window.
We'll probably get it down, set it down until we get the window out. And, because it's heavy. I mean, it's made out of some good heavy stuff.
Put that on the back of a boat?
Put it on a boat and haul tail.
Yeah, like an airboat.
Yeah, there you go.
A few days later, architect Pete Vallis drops by to survey the progress. By now, that fan is out of the attic.
Oh, here it is. Found a little old-timey oil can.
To oil the fan.
Yeah, to oil the fan. They left it there, and there's some kind of, one of the guys was telling me.
So that's pretty cool, Dan.
I know, we found a bunch of these things. Actually, we found.
That'd be good, just like a little decoration in the house.
Right, that's what we're talking about.
Outside the work has turned to creating the foundation for the new garage and the addition to the house.
42'5" and 1/8".
The garage will be on a slab while the addition will rest on cement block walls.
You just never realize how big something's going to be until you get everything laid out, you get your strings in place, and you start digging the big footings. Now, it surprises a lot of people when they see large footings like this and wonder, you know, when you only have like a concrete block and a brick going on top of it, why it has to be so wide. Well, this is everything when you're talking about the foundation, particularly a large wooden structure like we're going to build right here, this being our master bedroom suite. You can see some of the piers right in the middle where Tim's standing right there is where we'll be pouring footings in the middle of this area to support all of the load. Now, this foundation is a little bit different than the foundation we have over here for the garage. Now, this is called a monolithic slab, which means it's all one piece. It all pours down to create your footings, your brick ledge, and everything you need to construct this garage.
And when the concrete truck arrives, that's where we start. Those tons of concrete pouring out of the chute will form the floor of the garage. But much of it also flows over into the footings to provide support for the structure. When the forms are full, the guys screed off the excess and level the surface before working on the final finish. But the concrete trucks keep coming because we also have to fill up all of those footings for the addition to the house.
All of the foundation work for the new area is ready to go. It's complete and the framers will be here in just a couple days. But we're a little concerned about the existing foundation, especially considering it's 84 years old.
To figure out where the low places are, Mark and I set up a transit to check the floor elevation at several different points around the first floor of the house.
All right, I went ahead and drew a little drawing of the downstairs and shoot just, I don't know, 10 or 12 little spots here and all that. So, all right, we'll see where the low spot is.
It's not surprising that there are a few variations.
So that's 1 inch lower than that. Can you shoot around this fireplace in this spot over here?
But we have to minimize them to keep from having problems with the new work.
According to this number, this needs to come up a 1/2 inch, right? And this would need to come up a 1/2 inch.
All right, now we got to go see what's wrong with it.
Okay.
You want a little crawl suit?
Yeah, let's put one on. I don't want to get dirty or anything.
Unfortunately, the solutions will have to be worked out in this narrow little crawl space.
Somebody's already done some work under here, but we just need to...
This is all cracked right here.
Yeah, we need to jack that up and put us a whole block under there, you know?
Yeah.
They just put that little 1/2 of a block in there. But this is where we got to go up that inch.
Well, I can see the seal, the one that you said rotting out right there is about 1 inch down.
It's lower than that, yeah. I think we can get right here and jack this up.
All right, well, that's easy enough. Wish I could stay here and help you.
Yeah, I wish you could too.
While the guys go to work jacking up and shimming the sagging foundation, let's check in with Jody for this week's Best New Product.
You might be familiar with the rotary line of tools that Dremel has come out with over the years, and now they've come out with a new one to add to that line. It's called the Trio, and the reason why they call it a Trio is it uses 3 different types of bits to do several different projects. Now, at first glance, this may look like a jigsaw, but actually it's not. But it can do the work of a jigsaw just by simply adding one of the bits that comes in the kit, and you can make cuts that way. Now, I like this design, but let me show you this. Press this button, and you can lock it into place like this. It also has an adjustable foot that is already attached to it, so you can make plunge cuts or depth cuts, just depending upon what you need. It also can be turned into a router. Now, it's got some different bits that you can put on there. This one is specifically for routing. And then these right here are little sanding bands that you can add as well to turn it into a sander. Again, this is just another little nifty tool that Dremel has come out with to help you with the projects around your house.
We're back on the interior of the Kuppersmith renovation, and fortunately all of our foundation repairs are behind us. You know, we had a little bit of settling here and there, a little bit of rotten wood to deal with, not unusual for a house that's about 84 years old. We also had to deal with a few issues right in here where the original siding got a little water in it, started rotting. Termites love that, so that was pretty easy to fix, but that probably contributed to some of the settling. All of that's behind us now, and we're really starting to move forward with a lot of adjustments of the framing on the inside of the house, including kind of reworking a few of the cased openings here, having to put new support beams above it there, headers, in order to support it properly. Also, you see a lot of new wood right in here where we had to remove a lot of the bathroom floor upstairs and replace all of that. Now, you also might remember that right here was the doorway leading into the kitchen. Had the little swinging door. Well, we studded that up and created a new cased opening here so that we have that nice line of sight that'll lead right into what's gonna be an awesome kitchen. This wall will be moved back 14 feet, and then the kitchen will look into the family room. That will look out on to the nice back porch, and then we have the big master suite over there, so you can get kind of an idea of the overall layout. It's going to be pretty impressive. Now, upstairs, we're making just a few alterations to the existing footprint.
We're adding much-needed closets to bedrooms and modifying the access to the existing bathroom by repositioning doorways. We're also converting that funky closet shower that was here into a new linen closet that faces the landing. The landing itself has to be supported from below while we open it all up, like we talked about last week. First, the guys cut out and removed the finished wood flooring. Then, the subfloor comes out. With it gone and the temporary support below, the floor joist can be removed one at a time, opening up the view from one floor to the other. After new beams are added to carry the weight, the temporary support walls are gone and the stairway has a great new look. In the meantime, we're getting the outside of the existing house ready for its update by removing the old cedar shakes and the leaky wood windows.
Go ahead and lean it back, I'm gonna knock the seal off of it.
The deteriorating felt behind these shakes was barely keeping out the moisture, let alone the wind. So we're wrapping the envelope of the house with house wrap before the new materials go up. Speaking of going up, finally the new garage is getting started, and it's exciting to see brand new walls being nailed together and lifted into place. We're using 2x6s on these walls because of their height. The joists connecting the walls are laminated veneer lumber I-beams so that we can create usable space above the garage without adding any columns to clutter up the garage space. The floor for this future office or playroom is glued and nailed in place, which will not only prevent future squeaks, but also strengthen the whole structure. Metal straps tie the studs to the plates before the wall sheathing starts going in place. When the rafters start going up, you really get a sense of the size of this thing. It's much larger than the old garage, which seemed big at first. But the height works well in proportion to the house. And besides, we haven't even started framing the addition.
It's been called the most important mechanical invention of all time, the wheel. It also holds an important place in the historic halls of Thinking Green. There are so many applications for this little guy, and one of the most popular is transportation. You know, I've really been impressed with all the hybrid automobiles that have been coming out on the market lately, but let's take a look at a few other means of alternative transportation that keeps the wheel on the green side of the fence. Now, for tooling around town, you can look at some of the all-electric cars, and believe it or not, you can find one that doesn't look like a hard-boiled egg. For the more adventurous, how about a joyride on the ripstick? Be a lot of fun, or one of my personal favorites, the bicycle. Now, there's a lot of people out there that really think that alternative transportation is the only way to travel. I like to think of it as just a fun way to add a little green to your life.
We're only a few weeks into the Kuppersmith project, and most of the demolition work is behind us. And we've got a great plan, and we've laid a great foundation, both figuratively and literally, for all of the new work that's about to take place. There's so much going on, it's hard to keep up with, but we'll do our best to keep you up to date.
I have been planning on this project for so long, and now to see it starting to come up out of the ground and all the progress that's being made is extremely exciting to me. Hey, I really hope you're enjoying seeing this thing come together. We've got so many details that we're going to be able to share with you over the next few weeks. We've got a long way to go. We'll see you next week here on Today's Homeowner.
This project is going to be a great success, thanks to our Kuppersmith project partners.